No one in that cramped courtroom expected history to show up in handcuffs. But you know what I mean? Sometimes life just sucker punches the whole room. That's exactly how it went down the day Elijah Rowe shuffled in, shackled, wearing county blues with the kind of posture you get from decades of carrying the world on your shoulders. Nobody judged cops. The day anybody realized who they had. To them, he was just another old black vet, calloused hands, tired eyes, probably picked up for vagrancy or getting loud at a bar. Except he wasn't. In a moment, a four-star general strode through those same doors, medals flashing in the fluorescent light. The whole country suddenly cared about what happened next. That's the thing about secrets in America. Sooner or later, they break through the concrete like weeds. And man, this one came with roots. I guess to really get it, you got to go back a day before the world found out who Elijah was. Just another afternoon in Alabama, sun pounding down. Eli bent over Martha Wilson's ancient Chevy, wrench in one hand, rag in the other. Martha brought out lemonade, like she always did, the glass sweating almost as much as Eli, and she told him, "You know you're a blessing. Don't know what this town would do without you." Eli just nodded, mumbled his thanks. She was that kind of guy, you know? The kind who disappears when the job's done, who never asks for payment, who's more shadow than neighbor. Kids called him Ghost. Half respect, half because you never heard him coming. By evening, he'd finish the truck and walk down Main, past the barber, the hardware store, Miller's Diner, the only place he ever really went, unless you count his tiny rented house at the edge of town. He slid into his usual booth, meatloaf and black coffee, and let the noise wash over him. But that night, peace didn't last. Some drunk stormed in, slurring threats at an old man in dirty fatigues, just wanted coffee. Had money, but that didn't matter. Drunk shoved the vet, pushed again, and Eli got up. Didn't say a word, just stood between them, offering his sandwich like a peace treaty. "You should go home, sleep it off," he said. Quiet, calm, like he was talking someone down off a ledge. Drunk got loud, tried to make it a scene, but before fists could fly, Officer Banks swaggered in, hand already resting on his belt. Banks had a reputation, and not a good one if your skin wasn't pale enough. Drunk pointed fingers. Susan, the waitress, vouched for Eli, but it didn't matter. Banks asked for ID, and you could feel the tension snap tight as piano wire. Eli's voice was soft, almost gentle. "You don't want to do this." Banks didn't listen, never did. Moments later, Eli was face down, cuffed, the whole diner filming, the story already out of anyone's control. Down at the station, paperwork got filed, fingerprints taken, then a red flag popped up on the computer. Urgent DOD alert. Immediate hold for federal questioning. Sheriff figured it was a glitch. What nobody realized was how that flag was the first domino, already toppling everything else. Across town, Detective J.D. Dryone of Only Two Black Detectives saw the name Elijah Rowe and felt something off. Database checks gave him nothing but blacked out lines and dead ends. But his gut told him there was more to this ghost than anyone let on. Meanwhile, up in Atlanta, Eli's daughter Maya got a text they arrested the ghost. The message hit like a gut punch. Maya was a journalist, the kind who'd rattle cages until the bars bent. And even though she hadn't spoken to her dad in years, she dropped everything. While Maya packed her bag, the DA, Leah Tran, was already reviewing bodycam footage. What she saw was nothing like Banks's report. No threats, no violence. Just a calm man repeating, "You don't want to do this." Still, pressure came down hard to sweep the whole thing under the rug fast. But Eli's prints triggered more than a local drama. In D.C., Pentagon alarms blared, and General Whitmore ordered every shred of info. Intelligence analysts argued extraction versus containment. One voice, cold as marble, said, "We should have neutralized him years ago." Another whispered, "God help us, Black Echo is about to go public." The old stories started surfacing about a sniper so precise, so deadly, that he was called a ghost. And with every secret phone call, every panic in a windowless room, the truth clawed its way toward daylight. Maya's search took her straight to town. Press credentials out, she pressed the sheriff's office for answers. The deputy Blanche, she was Eli's daughter, and she wasn't going away. On her end, Detective JD dug up an old Army buddy who said, "If he's who I think, you just made the worst mistake of your career. Some ghosts are better left alone." In a town that thrived on silence, the volume was rising. At the Pentagon, General Whitmore demanded answers, only to find higher-ups already greasing the rails for his early retirement. Colonel Clean, the man behind Black Echo, played puppet master from the Shadows media smear campaigns, fabricated psych files, orders to erase Eli in every way but literal. Meanwhile, Maya met with Mark Willis, an old Marine saved by Eli during Operation Black Echo. Willis, haunted, told her the real mission wasn't to stop a warlord, but to collect data on bioweapons on civilians. "Your dad saved 47 people, children included, disobeyed orders, and they buried him for it." Her articles made the rounds, protesters gathered, and the town's sleepy jail became a flashpoint. A fake lawyer tried to assassinate Eli in jail. Eli handed him back, unconscious, with a warning. "Next time, send someone I didn't train." Now things were truly spinning out. General Whitmore met secretly with DA Tran, sharing evidence, photos, logs, whispers of atrocities. Operation Black Echo wasn't just an ugly secret. It was a war crime, and Eli was the last witness still alive. JD found video evidence showing Banks had lied. Eli hadn't resisted. Maya's hacker ex, Luke, broke into federal files and found logs detailing the testing of ethnically targeted pathogen genocide, plain and simple. As the hearing loomed, pressure exploded, government goons, media firestorms, private contractors gunning for Maya and her allies. The day of the emergency hearing, the courthouse bristled with security. The state called Eli unstable, waving around doctor reports. Maya stood up, waving DOD records. The judge tried to silence her. That's when General Whitmore swept in, medals catching every camera flash, demanding to testify. He laid out the truth. Eli saved innocents when the higher-ups demanded he erase them. The judge, under national scrutiny, dropped the local charges, and the crowd exploded in relief. But no happy ending, not yet. Federal agents swept in, cuffed Eli again on espionage charges. Maya screamed. JD tried to intervene. Whitmore swore vengeance. The story was national. Now Row trended. Congress demanded answers, and the battle lines shifted from one Alabama town to the halls of Washington. Station Gray, the secret prison, was a nightmare out of spy novel. Eli endured interrogations, hallucinations, and psychological games, always holding onto the coordinates proof of a mass grave and American complicity, etched in blood on the cell wall. Maya, JD, and Zuri, a genius hacker, form an unlikely alliance, hacking federal systems and tracking Klein's every move. An attempted transfer really and execution was thwarted at the last second by an emergency injunction. Mercer, a federal agent, broke ranks, swayed by the mountain of evidence. Eli was freed as the world watched, reunited with Maya and the woman he'd once spared in Sierra Leone, now a human rights lawyer. They were surrounded by press, protesters, the country on edge. But Klein wasn't done. His mercenaries grabbed JD, tried to torture the final secrets out of him. Eli, Whitmore, and their team mounted a rescue, stormed the warehouse, and took down Klein's men with ruthless precision. The physical evidence, GPS logs, samples, serial numbers finally surfaced, turning a conspiracy into undeniable truth. Congress convened, with Klein on trial for war crimes and treason. Amari testified, detailing the atrocities. Whitmore brought Eli in, battered but alive. Eli's words, calm and unwavering, painted a picture too horrific to ignore. Klein melted down, screaming about the necessity of evil. But America, at least for a moment, chose justice over comfort. Eli was pardoned, his testimony locked into the historical record. Maya's reporting won awards. Their foundation advocated for other wronged veterans, and the truth changed laws. Mercer resigned in shame, now fighting for the people she once helped oppress. Klein vanished into a cell, his network unraveling. Eli never went back to fame or parades. He fixed Martha's truck, volunteered at the new PTSD clinic, haunted the edges of his town as a free man. Sometimes he'd leave medals on park benches, a note to the next hero: speak up. You're not alone. In the foundation office, Maya kept a photo of her dad, Amari, and Amari's little boy, opening a new school in Sierra Leone. On the wall hung Eli's final words to America: "Now you see." So what do you think? If the hero they locked up looked nothing like what you pictured, would you have stood up for him? Would you have broken the silence? Leave your thoughts below. What would you have done? Where's the line between security and justice, between silence and truth? Share your take, because stories like this don't end unless we talk about them.